Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for the originals. Season 2, Episode 3, Every Mother's Son. I'm your host, Dom, and with me in stunning 3D, it's my co-host, Omikins.
It's real 3D, get it right.
It's real 3D.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. So, is the world not 3D enough for you as it is, that you need to make it more 3D?
Not enough jumping out at me, you know? Get in my face.
Yeah. So, what'd you think of this episode?
I actually liked it.
This was a really good episode.
I mean, if you haven't watched The Vampire Diaries, this is perfect for character development and allowing you to see like more of their history and stuff. So it's really good for a standalone episode. And I really like seeing even more things that I didn't know. So
yeah, we got a lot of flashbacks this episode. It was really great. We got to see all the children at an age of which we have not seen them at yet. I think in season 1 of the originals, we may have seen Klaus and Rebecca around this age, but definitely not the rest of them. But just before the flashback sequence, Klaus was talking, and he mentioned the fact that his mother had 7 children.
yeah.
And I was like, what? I got really confused for a minute. There was Rebecca, Cole, Klaus, Elijah, Finn. Those are the ones we've known from the Vampire Diaries, the originals. There was mention of Henrik, very, very briefly. Was in season 2, episode 8 of the Vampire Diaries. He has not been seen again until this episode. Very briefly, we got to see him. But that's only 6.
Yeah.
There's still a 7th unnamed child that we don't know about. And there was not 7 children in this episode. And if I remember correctly, they mentioned something about a child that they had was killed by a plague. It was the firstborn of Esther and Michael.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember that.
I'm curious if that kid is ever gonna, get a name, and if it's ever gonna come into play.
I doubt it. It seems like...
Was that the 7th unnamed child?
I'm not gonna go... I don't know. It sounds like the 7th unnamed child maybe was too young to even bother with the story. Like, so young that the plague just kind of wiped it immediately kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm curious if Esther's going to do something to, bring the child back? What if it didn't survive? Or what if it did survive? What if it was reincarnated through some magical... I don't know. Is this child gone? No, nothing's ever gone for good in this series, this universe.
Maybe it was a girl. And maybe Klaus wasn't really, capable of making babies.
It wasn't Klaus's child. It was Esther and Michael's child.
I'm just saying, maybe Esther from the other side did a little mojo and...
Oh, you're saying Hope might be the 7th child. That would be super interesting. Oh, that would be crazy, in fact. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be awfully rude of Esther to just go and throw this child's soul into the Mikealson's baby.
Yeah, well, Esther isn't all there anyways, so...
No, but Esther doesn't have any manners whatsoever. Right? Yeah. She invites Klaus and Elijah to a dinner party at their own home. Who does that?
Your moms. Moms do that, They invite themselves over all the time.
But then she shows up late.
Mm-hmm.
And then leaves in the middle of dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, she left and had a kind of out-of-body experience, but nonetheless, she left in the middle of dinner. That is extremely rude. I don't care what anybody says.
She's just playing with their heads. And that's just making them a little bit more irritated every single time.
She's making me irritated. Hey, what was it? Season 4 or 5 that Esther was in on the Vampire Diaries?
I want to say 4.
Yes, because it wasn't last season.
No.
It was, yeah, okay, so season 4. And she showed up and she was like, there was like no character development there.
Mm-mm.
Right? And she's just coming around going, oh, I hate the vampires, let's kill them, I want to kill all my kids.
Yeah.
And it came off as like really just vindictive and evil.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, almost heartless, but we find out now in this episode, which, like you said, there's a lot of character development here. She doesn't want to kill them. She wants to cure them.
Yep.
And destroy them out of love.
Yeah, the way she words it, it sounds a lot better than destroy them out of love. But really, I mean, she'd have to wipe their bodies out of existence. Mm-hmm. And then put their soul in another body and kick the other soul out. Like, get the fuck out of here. This is my son's new body, you know? And I don't know if that's the best way to go about things, but, I mean, it makes sense in her head.
Yeah. It fleshes the character out a whole lot more to me than that season. It felt very awkward. Like, I accepted it because it's what it was. That's the story they were telling, but it just never sat right with me. And now that kind of justifies all of it. It makes sense out of everything.
Yeah. And that's why I said, like, if you're watching the originals on its own, you haven't touched the Vampire Diaries, this was a great episode to get to know the characters.
Yeah. It was still a great episode if you did watch the Vampire Diaries to fill in those holes of why she was acting that way. But Finn is another character that I never really liked Finn. I still don't really like Finn, but I never really liked Finn.
No.
I can appreciate him a little bit more. They fleshed him out a little bit better this episode. They gave him some motive. They gave him emotion. He also was able to do that cool little finger rubbing thing.
Is that new that they do to werewolves? I didn't see that at all last season, but now all the werewolves are getting this thing.
That's new this season, but it wasn't just to the werewolves. He did this to his brother.
Yeah, but Klaus is part werewolf. So, I mean, doing the little thing to him would still affect him.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't do it to Elijah? I thought he did it to Elijah.
He just kind of did that. And then Elijah was like, what?
Maybe it is something new for werewolves. Mm-hmm. At first, I thought he was rubbing the world's smallest violin. Until, like, they started, like, cringing and you see this orange flash of light. Yeah. That's what I thought he was going for the first time he did it. And, yeah, but, like, Finn genuinely feels hurt from being daggered for 900 years. And he has a lot of built-up resentment. It's not just that he's a mama's boy and he's clinging to her side, doing whatever she says. There's actual motive behind it now. Like, we knew he was daggered, but we also knew that Cole was daggered and Rebecca's been daggered and
Elijah's
everybody else. Yeah.
Everybody's been daggered.
So, I mean, I guess they all took it a little way, and the information leading up to how they were daggered and stuff. I don't think we've actually seen why Finn was daggered. Did we get that in flashbacks at all in the Vampire Diaries? I know we haven't had it in the originals.
It was probably there. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I mean, I've been saying that, but that part has always been a little to me, because at the point when they introduced the originals, I think they just threw them in way too fast, and I kind of, like, drifted off and really didn't pay attention.
Yeah, they were thrown in rather fast, and they were kind of making things up as they went along, I think, in that season, because the originals, though Klaus exists in the books, I don't believe any of the other ones do. So they were kind of writing all these characters in, like, because at first when they brought him into the show, we were just under the impression there was Klaus. right? And then Elijah shows up instead, and we think that Klaus is Elijah, but he's not. And, and it was this weird thing they started throwing, and there's like more brothers, and at first we just thought it was Klaus, Elijah, and Rebecca maybe, and then all of a sudden Finn and Cole come out of nowhere, and it's just like, where did these come from? And then we find out now that there was a sixth brother, and now we're finding out there's a seventh brother.
A seventh unnamed, unsaid gender child.
Right. So, yeah, it seems like there's a few holes here, but I don't think that they have dug themselves out of something that they can't fix.
No. It's only the third episode.
Yep.
There is how many more? 19?
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of room to fill in those holes now.
Yeah, and this season is definitely more focused on family than the first season. The first season was family. It was about, Klaus and Elijah and Rebecca and the baby, but this is about immediate family now, like your mother, your father, and...
Yeah, they're really trying to strengthen what they got.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rebecca's already on good terms with them.
Yeah.
And you can just tell that Klaus and Elijah are getting closer and closer. Like, there was that scene where Klaus was like, this family could learn so much from you, to Elijah. It's like, and Elijah just kind of like was taken aback, like, my brother just complimented me. What?
Yeah. There's little moments like that. I mean, there's been even moments where Haley really feels part of the family now, and they're embracing her.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Mike about that earlier. They're trying to put a wedge in between Elijah and Haley because a lot of people banked on that relationship last season. Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of viewers really enjoyed it. Like, I know I did. I don't like Haley, but I enjoyed the relationship.
Yeah.
But now they're kind of going to, like, a goofy friendship with Klaus and Haley, and then I know a lot of people are going to, like, expect them to try and shoehorn their relationship together and make them get back together or something, but I don't see it happening.
Mm. Yeah, Haley was a character I couldn't stand on the Vampire Diaries, and they did a really good job of fleshing her out and making her a character that I can't say that I'm thrilled with, because I wouldn't be upset if she just, like, vanished off the show. But on the same token, I don't mind having her around.
No.
So...
I really didn't like her in the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah. They did a really good job of making her a reasonably likable character. And the hybrid angle has some interest. Like, it was the finale of last season that I really liked it, and I liked where they were going with it, but now it's a little too early to judge, but at this moment I'm not happy with the direction she's in. I like where she's going, but I'm not happy where she is.
I like the sass she's getting.
The sass is good.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, she's acting weak mentally, as, like, she's just really vulnerable, and then sometimes she's just like, I want to kill everything. Right. And the balance is just not there. And I know she's just a hybrid, so that's gonna develop, but I do like the sass.
Well, you said she's got the mental weakness, but what about the flashback we got where we saw Klaus having the physical weakness, the necklace that his mother made for him to intentionally make him weaker so he wouldn't trigger his werewolf curse?
You know what? I'm on Esther's side for that one. I would not want him to do that to trigger his werewolf side, because not only would Michael go crazy earlier, but that's something I don't think Klaus was ready to deal with, especially then. And I think she actually had the whole vampire thing in the back of her head way before she actually did it.
It's possible. I don't know necessarily she was going for vampires. She definitely wanted immortality from them.
Well, I mean, she got the vampire thing, but I mean,
right.
Yeah, immortality.
Yeah, but it ends up the necklace and him being weaker is what triggers the father to hate him to begin with, because he's so weak. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like it was a lose-lose situation for Klaus no matter what was done there. Because if he was strong like his brothers and he killed somebody, he would have turned into a werewolf, and father would have hated him anyway. So, seems like it was a lose-lose. Esther had the right intentions, But
She did.
I don't know if she still went about it the right way.
I don't know how else she would protect him, being that he's supernatural, and I mean, she's the only other supernatural being that can do anything about it. I mean,
Couldn't she just have given him a moonlight necklace? So he would never transform?
yeah, but there would still be always the issue with the rage and thing. I mean, with Tyler, his rage is there, even though but he hasn't triggered the curse again.
Right.
But the rage is always there. If someone angers you as a werewolf, you're gonna get a little angry, and it doesn't matter if he's wearing a necklace or not. So, I mean, it's still protecting him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then, like I said, Esther had jumped at the dinner, whatever. She jumped into a new body, which was Lenore, which they kind of set up earlier as the resident witch that's been helping Esther. But now she's Esther.
Lenore was helping Marcel.
Well, she was helping Marcel, but she was also in cahoots with Esther.
How?
What do you mean, how?
Well, I mean, she was helping Marcel initially, and then Finn
She was
approached...
making the rings for the werewolves.
Was she?
Yeah.
I thought it was Cassie/Esther doing that. Lenore was across the river, and she had nothing to do with the witches in the quarter.
I thought Klaus said something about that he had to go pay a visit to Lenore because her mother was making alliances in the witch department.
I don't think that's... I don't know.
That's why Haley went to go visit Lenore. During the dinner. Haley was there during the dinner. It was like a trap that Esther had set.
Yeah, well, okay, so Lenore was helping Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
Finn approaches Lenore and pretty much captures her, beats her, hangs her up, and then they make Oliver, try to beat the information out of her because Finn saw Elijah and Gia with Lenore. So Esther wanted to know what was up. And then the whole glass of time thing, that was the time, the countdown for Esther to leave Cassie's body and go into Lenore.
But wasn't the timer at Lenore's place?
It was in the catacombs in the witchy cemetery. Because Lenore was all tied up and Oliver was supposed to beat information out of her.
I really don't remember her being tied up when the thing went down. I remember her mixing something with Haley.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that was before Esther went over to her.
Oh, wow. I'm really confused now.
Well, Lenore was never in cahoots with Esther, and then she got...
I thought she was.
No, she got kidnapped, and then Haley rescued her, made it look like Oliver got the shit beat out of him, and he got jumped and whatever. And then Lenore took Haley back to her place to do the spell to mark Esther's soul.
Okay. I remember that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember the mark going on her. And I remember Haley calling her out on that.
Yeah, that's the only time that Esther was in cahoots with Lenore. She just took over Lenore. That's it.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So I completely missed that. I hope I'm not the only one. I hope there's other people watching at home that are now enlightened. And I feel like an idiot. So I'm probably the only one. But
Where's Chrissy? Where is she? She has the Dom is wrong tally.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Wrong. So what does this mean for Cassie now that Esther has left Cassie's body?
Cassie is completely confused and she has no idea what's going on. She doesn't remember anything. She's just another harvest girl. What this means for Cassie is whatever freaking Elijah and Klaus want to do with her.
But does she really not remember anything, or is she pretending?
We don't know. We really don't know. If she remembers, Klaus is going to get it out of her. He's a scary guy.
He is. He's a big teddy bear.
He's a teddy bear.
He's a teddy wolf. What was that face for?
It was like a, what?
Then we... Elijah.
Yes.
He's not a teddy wolf. He's a teddy vamp. He kind of opens up with Gia. Like, Marcel seemed like he's been trying to trick him this whole time into like mentoring, but then he actually succeeds and he exploits one of Elijah's weaknesses, and his weakness is he has to fix things. He always feels the need to have to fix things, and when Gia comes to him with a problem on a more subtle personal level instead of like a grand scheme of Marcel's, it's she used to play music and she can't play music anymore because of the way she hears sounds, and her senses and everything are all heightened, and Elijah just really starts explaining things to her. He calms down, he really opens up to her. It seems like he's more open to mentoring her now.
I think most of that was from the conversation he had with Klaus after the dinner with his mother and Finn. Klaus had some really powerful things to say, even though there was just a few words. And it really, really got to Elijah, and he realized that, maybe he should step up and start being a better guy.
Could be. But now the question is Elijah being played by Gia and Marcel? Or do you think he knows what they're up to?
It seemed like that from the very last scene with Marcel and Gia, and there was all those other vampires in the room, and they were just being immature. It didn't seem like they were building anything but a party house.
Pretty much. But do you think Elijah knows that they're trying to play him?
He will know. It doesn't doesn't take Elijah much to figure things out. He's a very, very, very observant guy.
He is, and
he's perceptive.
We were talking last week whether or not he was more manipulative than Klaus.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is. Klaus is too power hungry. Elijah is too.
He's savvy
aware.
And he's cunning and he's perceptive. He's a lot of things.
That he is.
Mm-hmm.
And that leaves Cole, right? Cole was not around at all this episode.
Well, they talked about him.
Yeah, they talked about him, but he laid very low. And
he's laying as low as Davina is, I think.
Yeah. And Esther kind of said that, they need to have Cole lay low. Did Klaus know that Vincent was Finn?
You mean yeah, he figured it out at the dinner.
Right.
Before they started eating. He was like, it's been a long time, Finn.
But they have no idea about Cole.
They have no idea about Cole.
Cole is kind of like the secret weapon.
Well, they know he's back. They know he's back, but they don't know who he is.
Oh, I didn't know they knew Cole was back.
Yeah, she mentioned it, saying that, Finn actually mentioned that Cole was going to join them, and then Esther said something about Cole, that the wild one, he was the wild one. She happened to convince him to play along and help with the family.
I think Cole, like we mentioned last week, is going to be easily persuaded to helping whoever needs the help. Like whoever's going to benefit him the most. He's not going to stick around and help the mother or Klaus and Elijah or necessarily Marcel or anybody. Like, I could see him going and helping Marcel. Like, even though he's very jealous and resentful of Marcel, if it's going to benefit him, he'll go and work with Marcel.
Yeah. Cole has his own plans in motion. Once he realized after the whole werewolf fight and almost getting his ass killed possibly because Esther said it was okay, I think he realized that he's not as safe as he thought he was. He'd rather be daggered. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's safer being daggered than working for his mom.
And it's kind of interesting to think that we have Cole and Finn back now, and they're witches again. Right? They have their powers. So does that mean if Esther succeeds, would that make Klaus, Elijah, and Rebecca witches again? If their essence is put into another body?
I would assume so. I mean, if that's what happened with Finn and Cole, Elijah and Rebecca are just as much, well, and Klaus are just as much Esther's children as those two are. So
Can a witch have a werewolf gene?
sure, why not?
I don't know.
I mean, there's a 3/4 hybrid baby sitting in a crib somewhere.
Curious if that is a vampire, werewolf, witch hybrid.
Probably.
And if it has the witch gene, if it's Klaus's kid, it could be the trifecta.
The Holy Trinity.
Be interesting. Do you have anything else from this week that I may have missed? Because clearly I missed a lot.
No, actually, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of character development, and I'm glad they went this way because it needed to be done.
It did.
It really did.
And it wasn't slow either.
No, it wasn't. It was a good pace.
Usually when you get a lot of character development and plot, it ends up slowing the whole show down, and they didn't do it, so I'm glad.
Kudos.
Next week, the episode is called Live and Let Die. James Bond reference. A hideout in the woods. Knowing that it's only a matter of time before Klaus comes after them, Davina takes Michael to her family cabin in the woods. When Haley gets a tip that Vincent is recruiting young, unsuspecting teenagers in order to build a werewolf army, she enlists the help of Elijah and Marcel to rescue the group. So, Vincent is recruiting to build a werewolf army? I
didn't think that werewolves could be made.
Yeah, that's...
I thought it was only genes. Maybe that's witchy. Maybe it's witchy.
Maybe we'll get the origin story of werewolf sooner than we thought.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah. Unless they're teenagers that have the werewolf gene that haven't triggered it.
I didn't think it would be that common, but then again, you look at Francesca's group and then you're like, wow, she built that army really quick, so...
There's a lot of the people in the bayou and stuff like that. We don't know exactly how deep the werewolf gene runs in the south.
This is true.
But it's still really weird because we were made to believe in the Vampire Diaries that the wolves were almost on the brink of extinction.
Yeah.
Because it was season 2 and Stefan and Damon hadn't even heard of werewolves.
Yeah, they were like, weren't they goofing around that,
They're like 700 years old or something.
It was Tyler's uncle. They were goofing around that, there's no possibility that werewolves are myths, and then, yeah. It was Damon who was, strutting around being like, oh, that's bullshit.
They're not 700 years old. What are they? They're like 160, 150 years old or something like that?
100 and... Well, Stefan said he was... Last time I checked, 147? That might be a few years off.
Yeah. So, interesting. After Kemi inadvertently lets Klaus in on Davina's whereabouts, she tags along in an attempt to truly understand the deeply rooted hatred he has for his parents. At his mother's urging, Caleb...
Which is Cole.
Yes, okay. Caleb seeks out Davina in order to locate the missing white oak stake and is caught off guard when he has a dangerous encounter at the cabin. Must be where Michael is being kept. Michael's got to be kept at this cabin now. Lastly, Josh, who continues to struggle with his vampire identity, opens up to an unexpected ally.
Unexpected.
Caleb.
Maybe. Possibly. I mean, I could see Josh kind of leaning into
Well,
Cole?
We know Josh is close with Davina, so
Yeah.
it makes sense that Caleb's going to want to
That's true.
get in with Josh.
Another unlikely ally would be Oliver.
That's true, too.
Mm-hmm. But I could see Cole being more of the one they choose.
Yeah. Even though that's not quite unlikely.
It really isn't unlikely.
Or unexpected, rather.
Unexpected. I don't know.
It seems expected to me. I mean, I'm expecting it. Then again, I expect a lot of things that end up happening. But I think that about does it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
No. All right, well, that's it for our show. Omi, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, Phenomedom. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, G+, MySpace, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV podcast.
Are you okay?
I had something in my throat.
Oh, you should take a drink.
ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts from some of your favorite TV shows. Okay, all better.
Okay, good.
Till next week. See you guys later.
Thanks.
I think I dozed off during that whole part about capturing Lenore. I think that's what happened.
Maybe you should go back and rewatch it.
I think I might have to. I mean, I did watch it Tuesday night, so that's forever ago.
I guess so.
Lenore.